of it looks low, but I'm going to hit two little areas right here. Alright, I'm happy with that. Alright, we're going to throw a blanket over it. And we're just going to let it cool for a little while. And we'll be back to open it up and let it air cool the rest of the way. Well, she's still pretty warm. Let's see if I can get you a good picture in there. The light's right. That's the inside. Alright, let's go in and we're going to get it mounted back up so we can come in here and drill and tap spot base the seat here for the plug. Alright, we're ready to go here. I'm got this mounted back down to our trace line. It's all locked. The table is is still all locked, and my readout still says 0, and it's the same 0 as I had yesterday. So far there hasn't been another act up on the readout. And it is funny how it's coincidental that I get replies from a half a dozen people that all had readout problems in the last couple weeks. So who knows? This tap, or this size that we are putting in here, is a 7/8 18, which is a special tap. And just to go ahead and get a good eyeball here after I put this up here, because I'm creating the hole, and it is just a plug hole, so it's not like it's detrimental to be to the thousandths located. I put this thing upside down because there's a drill point down in here, and this kind of like spins real nice. So that's where the diameter is going to be, and we knew that it was real close to the edge there. We're going to be putting a flat spot face there after we get our hole diameter done, so that we're going to do that with a form tool. So we're all located here now. Now the special tap, I had to order one here, and actually I thought I ordered an import, but well, I guess here on Cape Cod everything from the US is an import. Actually, it's kind of a joke. If it comes across the bridge there, it's marked up another 20%. Anyhow, it does say this made in USA, and it wasn't really mattering to me. I mean, you know, I wanted the least expense on the tooling just to get this job done. I knew I was working in aluminum. Most of the time, imports, no matter what they are, seem to work fine and cut just fine. Now, of course, any drill chart doesn't normally have the specialty taps listed as far as drill sizes. So I refer to my machinist handbook, and I come in here and I come across here 7/8 18, and pocket scales work real good to go ahead and go across this chart here. And basically they give you an external and internal dimensions here, and what we're looking for is the minor diameter for either one of those, but actually both of them, and then you can get the gist of what's going on here, because the external, the minor diameter, or the root of the thread, the minor diameter would be 0.805, and on the minor diameter of the internal, which would be the drilled hole size, 815. Now the closest that comes to that, it has a drill that's in my rack, is a 13/16. And so I went ahead and I took that, and it was slightly used, so I put it in the Leslie drill sharpener, and I just put a new edge on it here, and then I kissed it on the surface here so it wouldn't be grabby. And this is gonna be the last drill that goes in there. That's gonna be close enough for me to run a tap in here. And let me get my veneers. I just want to double check that leading edge there. And yes, I do own a pair of digitals, and every once in a while I trust them. So you're looking, I'm measuring across here 8.7, 8.11, 8.13. So we'll be able to start this tap with there. The main thing is we're going to have the greatest percentage of thread contact by having the small hole or the tight hole for the tap to start in. Of course, I do anticipate a little bit of run out and possibly that the drill drills slightly over. Most case scenario is what happens. Alright. So let me go ahead and set these off to the side there, move my books and stuff like that just so I don't have any splashing going on unnecessarily with them, and we'll get started here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a center drill in here just because this is irregular surfaces, and the center drills always seem to pretty well put you a center in the material on that surface that's irregular exactly where you want it. And I'm going to drop down and get some speed here. Alright. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go in with the drill. Now what I want to do is get a few more tools out of the way. Alright, we're going to change out and we're going to pull the chuck out, and we're going to go ahead and put the 1/2 inch collet in it. Usually, as a general rule, I try to run most of my drills larger than, say, like 5/8 or something like that in the collet. Sometimes, depending on the accuracy I want, anything 1/2 inch or above, I'll run in the collet. It gives you a better holding power. It shortens up your distance so you're stouter, and I think it's more rigid, gives you a better, cleaner hole. So we're going to slow that down a little bit. Not that we can't cut it there, but alright. Now I bring it down and I engage the hand wheel here so I can control that by hand. And it's locked by gear, so it's not going to want to suck in there. one little porosity hole over here on the side. Everything else is looking pretty solid. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to pop the drill out. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to run this boring bar here in my 3/4 inch, and I'm going to change this out for just a straight edge tool bit, and we're going to sweep and cut that face. Oh, I got to get the 3/4 inch collet. Excuse me. Alright, we pull out the high-speed bit that we had in there, and we found a carbide bit, and we held it up here and we drew it, we cut it off. Nothing special about this Braze tool bit. I think it's a C5. C5, C2, I have them in stock all the time. It's just new, it's got a good edge, its grind is square, and when I put it in here I know I'm going to get a square contact or surface around here. Now the diameter we're looking for, and we just want to make sure that we're going to be clearing the head here, which is about 1 1/8 here. This is 5/8 shank here. Alright, I pushed this tool bit all the way in here, and straight out from there we're about 260 or 250, and that's going to be fine for our flat surface that we want to have up here. That should give us about 1/200 total. We got 1 1/8 there on that. Let's see where we're at here. We're going to come on down here, and we're going to turn it in the reverse direction here and feed it down here slowly. And we're going to keep it wet so we don't get any galling going on. I'm going to move my can down here so I don't have to reach across it. Okay, we can get a dimension straight across here, find out what we got for a spot face here, and it is 1/200 right there. 1/200. What does this look like in here? That is going to be able to clear there. Have a nice place to seat. Okay, we're going to come on down here a little bit more so we can pick up a full sweep and circle here. I'm going to extend this out a little bit. Just because I can see, I know that this surface right here, I came right out and I met that right at the edge there. I was pretty happy with that. And that's like 375, and I can reach down in here and it's about 400. So we're pretty close to the height that we want to be right in there. I just want to come in and give just a little bit more. And then we'll blend the rest of this outside there with our Scotch-Brite pad there. There we go. There's a chip underneath there. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to leave it right there. Alright, now let's go ahead and pull this out. We're going to put in a chamfer tool and we're going to give just a slight leading edge to create the threads. Now we're going to run this in a collet just because our tap follower is going to be running the collet, same collet here, and they kind of work out together here. And I don't want a whole bunch, I just want a little bit there. A little slower and flooded with coolant, and I got a little bit of a gloss on there. I like at least trying to maintain the gloss on the aluminum. Okay, this is the tap follower we're putting in here. And put our tap in the tap handle here. And just make sure we get it juiced up really good here. And engage our follower. Add just a little bit more to the surface around here. Alright, and now we're just going to crank it in here. Feels like it's all the way through now. Alright, I'm going to pull off our handle just so we can spin it out by hand here. And there's a nice pretty set of threads right there. I like that. Alright, now we saw a ding on this when we got it. We took a thread file and we hit that. Should be fine. And it is. There we go. Awesome. Okay, we're going to blend in that little weld on the outside there, and then when you finish off this case, it's pretty much going to be original configuration there. We're going to break this loose and we'll get a look at the inside. I don't know if I have to do any dressing in there at all. Alright, I finished smoothing up around the edge here, and this thing is ready to go. And you can see that the little air pocket that was in there on my weld there. It's down in the middle of the threads. We got a good surface around where the actual seat of this plug actually seats at. And I'm not even sure if there's supposed to be something in between there, if it's metal to metal, but regardless, I've got a good fit there. We re-zeroed, I mean, you can see on the inside, we re-zeroed that thing pretty darn close. And that's kind of an abstract approach to an angle on aluminum casting here. Now, this was kind of a rush to create my little window here to hold my lens there, and I got one less helmet up here on the wall now. And this was my first auto change, and Miller made an awesome attachment in there, and of course my eyes changed and I got the progressive lenses, and I needed a bigger screen, especially when you're in the field and in the summertime and you're sweating and hot, and it just became really uncomfortable for me to weld with it, but it was still an excellent control. Now, I rushed on putting this together, and I also, first time testing this, I'm actually doing something. What I wasn't able to do during that whole process was to go ahead and change the settings on the lens to maybe darken it up, lighten it up, and kind of play with it there. I will, now that I have this made up, I have some, well, I'll make some time to play with it a little bit. And then the next video that I happen to use it in will be a little bit better than this one. Not to show you how to weld, but to show you how I get in there and my techniques of closing that hole, creating that shape, building it, the way I move my torch, things like that. I can share those now. So that's kind of, you guys were all asking for it, and of course, you know, watching a couple minutes of light flashing and everything else, you know, I kind of letting you know that I don't do anything faster, or you know, I move like this and I feed the rod like this, and which is nothing to brag about, it's just how I do it. But now you'll actually get to see how I'm manipulating the rod and the torch and kind of controlling it right at the arc itself. And so anyhow, we'll play with it a little bit and we'll see how things are going. Alright, it was just a short little job. I got 2 other things to do for this customer on his bike, and then he's been chomping at the bit. Of course, he came in with this project and I was already straight out, which I have been for a long time now, and it's just another get her done.